Hey guys, how's it going? It's Beginnings here. I hope you guys are having a wonderful week so far. Today's video is going to be my September patch notes video. Yesterday, the servers went down for a while, but the patch is finally out for iOS players, at least in NA. I'm not going to be going super into depth with the non-gameplay stuff like the new area encyclopedia thing where you can look at the heroes, or the new credibility stuff or anything like that. I'm really just going to be focusing on the stuff that affects gameplay, like buffs to heroes and items, changes to the pinging system that actually were really nice in this game, especially on someone like Xeniel, and just other stuff like that. And the game in the background is a game from earlier today. It was a 4v5 game because our Natalia was having some issues, but it's really fine. We end up winning the game. So if you enjoy watching my gameplay, sit back and watch my gameplay. If you enjoy listening to me talk, sit back and listen to me talk. It doesn't really matter. So we will start off with the big buffs. Xephys is going to be one of the strongest junglers in this new patch. His S1 got a pretty nice buff. I think it slows like 20% now, and it'll slow like 40% after the buff. His also, like, the biggest thing, which is more like the Xephys in KOG, is his S2 can heal on anything. It can heal on monsters, it can heal on minions, it can heal on heroes, and that is really nice for his jungle sustain. I think it'll make him a lot stronger in the jungle. Another thing is Zill. Zill was in a pretty rough spot after the last patch where they made it so Apocalypse and Loki's Curse didn't stack, so you couldn't build both those items. And yeah, a lot of people stopped playing him, but this patch I think he is going to be very, very strong. This buff really solidifies Zill's role as the anti-assassin, right? He's picked for being very good into Rourke, into Cricknack, and into ADCs, but yeah, he's played because he can outduel any other assassin jungler, just because his ult makes him invincible. And now having that 1 second silence is going to be helping a ton. He's also going to have a faster jungle clear now. He's going to have more harass because his S1 was like a 10-second cooldown before, and that scaled down, and now it's like 6 seconds at all ranks. So that's a pretty big buff for him. The next one is I'm going to go over is mid laners, and the two biggest mid laners that received buffs this patch are Natalia and Tulin. They both got insane buffs, both making them a lot more similar to their KOG counterparts. Tulin's ultimate, which is the only skill of his that is getting buffed, is now it does more damage. He has, I think, higher base damage and higher scaling, and also it resets as long as it's being channeled if the target dies. Before, you had to get the last hit on the target to get the reset to be able to, destroy the team fight. But now, as long as you're channeling your ult and the target dies, you get the reset. And yeah, that's again very similar to Tulin's KOG counterpart. He's a lot more of a late game scaling mage, and also his ult is ridiculous. Natalia is another very big buff that went through this patch, and honestly, I think she's going to make a big appearance in the game right now, or at least in this patch. So they basically made it so her S1 and S2 are both faster, and they have longer range, and they cost less mana. They also made it so her ult costs less mana. I don't know if you guys have seen the range that Natalia has now, but it is insane. They didn't nerf any of her damages, so she's still great at wave clearing. She's just a lot safer now, and yeah, I really look forward to seeing how the meta shifts with this patch, especially with these two new junglers coming in and being really strong, and the two new mages. One thing that really separates AoV from Kings of Glory is the game is very, very mage heavy. Like, mages are very, very strong in basically every MOBA but AoV. Mages in this game are basically wave clear bots. So it's really nice seeing some nice buffs coming through for these mages to help them maybe come back into meta a little bit, and also just to give them a bigger role in the game, right? That's, I feel like, very important. Making everybody feel useful. Anyways, I'm going to be moving on to the nerfs now, guys. The biggest nerf this patch is by far Zip. They basically nerfed everything about him. Like, almost every single one of his skills was nerfed to an extent. His S1 no longer stuns when the chain is broken. His S2 can no longer swallow minions while recalling. It also cannot be cancelled to negate the mana cost, which those two are fair. I understand that. They also made it so his ult is more reliant on hitting walls to speed up. They nerfed it by 2 seconds. It was a 6-second duration, now it's 4. They made it so so the ratio in which you receive cooldown like refreshment, I guess, from not using your ult, it went from like 20% to 5%. So yeah, a lot of really big nerfs hitting Zip. Another one is Brunhilde. Her S2 is, the slow is being reduced, but the biggest nerf to her kit is her ultimate cooldown is effectively being doubled. I think it's at 16 seconds for rank 1, and now it's 32 seconds at rank 1. So yeah, they basically effectively doubled it. I don't think Brunhilde will really be going anywhere in the meta. She still definitely fits that late game hyper carry, boom, I do a ton of damage, like slot basically. Another one that I don't actually have on my little big nerf sheet is Fennec. It's not really a big nerf at all, but I do think it'll have a pretty big impact on the meta. Everyone in ranked right now kind of constantly bans Fennec. He's very, very strong. The nerf series is receiving is his auto attack range and his S2 are getting very small range nerfs, and his ultimate cooldown is being increased. I don't think that there will be too much of a difference between old Fennec and new Fennec. And last but certainly not least is my favorite nerf in all of existence. They finally nerfed the shield enchantment, guys. Oh my goodness. They made it so it no longer gives 50% increased movement speed whenever the shield is procced. 50% is an insane movement speed steroid. It might as well be 7 million %. But yeah, that's basically all that there is for big nerfs. Next up is going to be some honorable mentions. That's basically going to be the buffs and nerfs that I thought were impactful but not really like game changing like the ones that I just went over. The biggest one in honorable mentions will have to be the Xeniel buff. If you've actually been watching the gameplay in this game, you can see that the buff to my S2 where I'm invincible to CC has actually helped out quite a bit. It helped me not only secure a kill this game, but it also helped me escape a few times this game. And yeah, that's pretty nice. Another small buff that is coming in this patch is the Chi ultimate. They're making it so instead of your ult only pushing those in front of you, it is now pushing everyone around you, and they made it so resistance no longer reduces the amount of time where you fly through the air. So yeah, maybe we will see a resurgence of Cheese in the meta. I definitely hope so, because she is a very, very fun hero to play. And yeah, another buff that went through this patch is the Wyro buff. If you guys didn't know, his passive, instead of reducing his armor and magic resistance by 25%, it is now 10%. And his S1, which is the auto attack enhancement, now lasts 5 seconds instead of 3. Malik also got a buff this game. They made it so his S2, his shield, now only has to target 3 targets, I guess, until he receives the maximum benefits from his shield. They also buffed the shield amount by a good little bit, and they changed his ult a little bit. They basically made it so if you don't have the true damage enchantment, when you ult in, if you hit anybody, you now have it. And if you do have it when you ult in, then your ult now does true damage. Small buff again, but nothing really to scoff at. Maybe we'll see more Maliks, but I really doubt it. He's not very strong right now. He can get kited pretty easily. Another buff that I am excited about, but I can admit is pretty small, is the Purifying Bracers buff. They basically made it so the range is 1 meter longer. That is not a very big increase in range at all, but they also added a new effect, which basically makes it so your allies are immune to CC for 0.5 seconds after you cleanse them. That it seems really small, but it helps a bit, especially when the enemy team is stacking CC. Yeah, I actually am looking forward a lot to the Purifying Bracer buff. I am a huge advocate for that item, as many of you already know. The last item buff I will be talking about is the Loki's Curse buff. They basically increase the scaling from 45% of your AP to 60% of your AP. That's a pretty nice buff. It'll help out Darcy and Zill, who are also already very strong in the meta. Going from 45% scaling to 60% scaling is insane. That is essentially a 33% increase in damage, although it's only like a 15% increase in scaling. But yeah, that's crazy. I think Zill and Darcy are both going to be very strong, and maybe even Tulin jungle, maybe. Yeah, probably not, let's be real. We're gonna go into the honorable mention nerfs now. Nacroth, Quillen, and Florentino all received pretty small little nerfs. Nacroth has some longer cooldowns. Florentino's passive lunge attack does slightly less damage, and Quillen's S1 probably got the biggest nerf out of the three. His damage is reduced on his S1 by a little bit, like it was reduced by 0.12 in the scaling, which is about 12%. I am going to mention the Ring of the Fiend nerf. The range was reduced from 12 meters to 10, and the duration, which is probably the biggest one, has been halved. It used to last for 4 seconds, and now it's only 2. So you're definitely gonna have to be a lot more careful against stealthy heroes. So yeah, those are basically all of the nerfs and buffs that I think are going to be affecting this patch and the meta within it. For a quick rundown, we're going to be seeing more Zephys, Darcy, and Zill in the jungle with the hero buffs and also the buff to Loki's Curse. We're definitely going to be seeing more Chi, Tulin, Malik, Xeniel, and Natalia. They all received some pretty nice buffs. We're definitely going to be seeing less Fennec, less Zip, less Enzo, less shield enchantment for sure, guys. That's basically everything. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video as much as I did making it. Please be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you do enjoy this type of content, guys, and I'll be seeing you next time. See ya.